Marching and marches have been a part of man's life for a long time. How many ways can you think of that marches are used today? Did you think of weddings, funerals, commencement exercises, parades, movie soundtracks, and of course, football game halftime shows? We've all had some experience with marching bands, but what exactly is a marching band?
Well, I suppose in the simplest terms, a marching band is a group of wind and percussion players that performs while marching, as opposed to a concert band that does most of its performing sitting down on a stage. Marching band performs on the street for patriotic holidays, parades, so on. Marching band may be a show band that performs on the football field on Saturday afternoons or Friday evenings. It's really an entertainment band in its simplest sense, I suppose.
Hey.
Huh?
Does that mean the only difference between the concert band and the marching band is that the concert band sits down when it plays and the marching band doesn't?
Gee, I don't know.
Neither do I.
We omit some instruments that are in the usual concert band. It's impossible, well, not impossible, but impractical to march with a double reed, oboe, English horn, and bassoon.
That's oboe, English horn, and bassoon.
The strings are of little or no value because the sound does not project, and marching bands perform in all kinds of weather, and it would just be very impractical to take strings outdoors and expect to get anything from them. Certain pieces will come off beautifully inside, and you take them outside, and the original conception is completely lost because it's not arranged with the idea of being performed outside. The same thing happens when a concert band plays an outdoor concert. Certain pieces just fail to come off because the sound will not project under those conditions. Outside, we have to have this large sound to fill the stadium because we're playing outdoors. You see, we both believe that the marching band can sound as good as a concert band if your standards are such that you demand your players to play with good tone quality, good intonation, good balance. If you have good equipment, good arrangements, and time to rehearse, there is no reason under the sun that the marching band can't be a fine performing organization, playing as well as they march, or in some cases better.
So the marching band doesn't have strings or double reeds like the oboe and the bassoon.
Then what instruments are left?
Well, I don't know.
The average marching band has the soprano brass consisting of cornets and trumpets, the middle brass, the alto horn, and the middle lower, trombone and baritone, and the low brass, the basses, plus percussion, which may consist of a variety of instruments, principally the bass drum, cymbals, and field drum. This is the large drum, not the smaller concert drum that we use indoors. In the woodwind section, we will have at the top the piccolo being the highest woodwind, and the clarinet, and the saxophone, alto, tenor, and baritone. We refer to the heart of the marching band as the percussion, the tubas, and the horns. And these basically should be placed in the center of the group.
Visually, the tubas tend to stand out very much, so sometimes we have to compromise in a formation and put the tubas at the top, where they add something to the formation rather than detract.
Another point, we try to always keep the tuba section together as a unit. If you could hear 10 tubas on the field together in a formation, and then plot the same formation and separate these 10 in either 2, 3, or 4 groups, the total sound would not be the same as if all 10 were playing together. So one of the first rules of charting and marching and so on is keep these sections together. You'll get your maximum performance that way.
But we almost always keep the percussion in the center because of the problem of keeping the group together. They're spread over a great distance, and the percussion must be in the center to hold the group together.
Probably the most important people in the band, we don't tell them this, but the bass drummers and the snare drummers and so on, the percussion section. If it's a good, well-organized, well-playing group, the percussion really makes the band go. If you could take two bands of identical ability with an average percussion section and a superior percussion section, the difference in the band would be so noticeable. This is the group that makes it go. This and the melody. We like to keep our melodic instruments pretty much together. The clarinet, the cornet, and the piccolo to project the melody. Our counter melody instruments, tenor saxophone, baritone horn, we keep pretty much in the unit, along with trombone. The heart of the band in the middle, melody in pretty much the back. So we have melody, counter melody, rhythm, and bass, which we refer to as the bottom of the band. Mm-hmm.
The marching band has a unique function. It performs outdoors at parades and at football games, and the choice of instruments reflects this function. The music written for the marching band is designed to get the maximum effect from the instruments for the job that the band has to do. And that job includes moving with the music as well as playing it.
Basically, we move to the beat. Most of our music is in duple meter, that is 2 beats to the measure.
Why?
And I think probably because man has 2 legs, and this is the natural movement. Yeah. The bands traditionally put the left foot down in the accent. So it's left, right, in a 1, 2, 1, 2 type march. If we're going to change directions, change movement, we usually do it with the phrase. Generally every 4 measures or every 8 counts we'll switch, or every 16 counts. Things work pretty much by the musical phrase.
You know why we do it every 4 or 8, don't you? The football field is laid out. Every 5 yards is a line. And every 5 yards we march 8 steps. Every 5 yards we hit a musical phrase.
Now, if I were going to design a block drill for this particular tune, and if I were splitting the block, I would probably move on 8-count sequences or phrases. For example, on this tune, da 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 dee, da da dee, bom, be 2, 4, 6, 8. We'd take this man right to here. Da 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 dee, da da dee, bom.
That would be what?
I would move this man 2, 4, 6, 8 counts. He would go 8 steps or 5 yards and make his turn right there.
Are you saying all counts? See if it comes out right.
Okay. 1, 2, ready? Now. Da 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 dee, da 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 da. All right, and you turn right on 8. It would be a good musical cue to turn on.
So the marching band steps to the beat and turns with the phrase.
But how fast does the band do all that?
Only as fast as it can perform well while marching. On the football field, on an entrance at halftime where we want to get the crowd's attention immediately, we might come on at 180 steps per minute. But we wouldn't attempt to continue this pace throughout an 8 or 10 minute show. People like variety, so we might cut down to 80 steps per minute. We might kick it up to 200, or we might just stand still.
But how does each person know where to march?
Well, we pass out instructions, a routine to the bandsman after I've worked out certain maneuvers. Usually we have a theme in mind, or a central idea. We have a variety of things to do on the field. We might do a precision drill, maneuvers in a block band in which every man does the same step at the same time, or dance steps. We may do wide open geometric patterns, a line of men stepping off in sequence. For example, we turn into a diagonal line. We can form various diamonds and geometric patterns. Or we can do simply a formation that stands still, or it has some movement in it. For example, we might do a locomotive and move the wheels.
But the formations made by the band look different depending on where you sit in the stands. Your perspective high in the stands is different from that lower in them.
Very definitely we plan for perspective. We realize that every spectator in the stands does not have a bird's eye view. He's not looking at the formation from a blimp. For example, if we were charting the letter H, we would not put the crossbar midway as it's normally seen in lettering, but we would lower the crossbar to allow for this perspective. You see, the man standing throws a shadow behind him. He covers a certain area of grass behind him. And so we would bring the crossbar down to account for that. And actually, as it is seen from the stands, from this angle, it would look as if that crossbar moves up. And if we're doing a stick figure, for example, we would elongate the head. But when you see that formation on the field, or a picture of it, the head will look much smaller. The head will look almost round, in fact.
First of all, we have these charts made up of the field. It shows the yard lines, of course, and the insert lines, which show the width of the field, every third width. And in addition to that, we put in the dotted lines, which indicate every 4-step interval. And normally when I start a formation, I sketch it in pencil, and I have an approximate idea of what size formation we can do with our size band, 120 men. Then I place the individual men and make my adjustments according to size and perspective and so forth.
They can go horizontally, they can also go the other direction, along the yard lines. The continuity sheet may read forward march 8 steps, 4 high steps, left about, forward 16 steps, right flank, and so forth. We have code, and they interpret these symbols quite easily. The first day, they simply go through it with the charts and without music. Forward march 8 steps, to the rear 4 steps, right flank, and so forth. They get down the routine pretty well, perhaps singing their part, and then we go through it with the music, maybe stopping at each phrase. So we do it both ways, and then finally we put it together with the music without stopping.
Say,
Yeah.
how does the band know when to start and stop?
You see, there are various ways you can signal your players to do something. You can do it with a drum major, with his baton, with a whistle, with a voice command.
So to start the band from a standing still position, we usually use the drum major whistles. 4 whistles, short whistles, set the tempo for the band. Tweet, 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 tweet. That sets the tempo.
He is the commanding officer of the band on the field. There are other cases where the conductor would just be in the way. And at this point, the drum major has complete command of the band. He tells them when to march, how fast to march, when to play. He's the man that gives the signals.
And after the drum major strikes up the band, the beat and the phrases within the music itself would determine the band's movement within a piece. After each number, the drum major may again signal the band.
Most of the show proceeds on whistles, automatic movement, and so forth. But in a concert formation, I'll stop and play under the conductor.
perfectly honest, we are there to furnish entertainment between halves of a football game. We are doing our level best to present good musical performance and good marching so that young people in our audience will see that it is possible to play well and march well. We are giving students in our band an opportunity to perform and practice and observe some things that they will be doing very shortly as members of our profession. It can be a practicum group as well as a performing group. And we are trying to generate student spirit by performing, either marching or playing, or in the stands, playing school songs and so on. So we're trying to do a variety of things, and we hope we do them well.
Well, what did you learn?
A lot.
Like what?
Well, all about marching bands and...
All about marching bands.
Sure.
Okay, how can you tell a marching band from any other kind of band?
Different instruments.
Why?
Well, so that you can hear them when they're playing out in the open.
And?
And, well, they have to carry and play their instruments while they're moving.
All right, listen to this and tell me which instruments aren't used in a marching band.
All right.
Well?
The second one. You wouldn't use the second...
Why?
Well, I already told you.
Do you think you could recognize a marching band if you heard one?
Sure.
All right, let's listen. Well?
Which do you think?
I asked you first.
The second one.
Let's listen again. Listen carefully this time.
See, I told you.
Okay.
Okay, now I have one for you.
Go ahead.
How does a band move?
Depends on how far they're going. Bus, plane.
No, I mean when they're marching. How does a band know how and when to move?
You mean who gives the signal?
No.
The drum major or the conductor?
No,
You mean who sets the tempo?
No, I
The drums.
I didn't
See,
mean
the
to-
percussion.
is the heart of the marching band. But what I want to know is
Oh, you mean duple meter.
huh?
Duple meter. People have two legs.
So,
So they step on the beat.
which foot?
Left.
They step on the beat.
Yep. And turn on the phrase. Step on the beat. Turn on the phrase. Watch.
Hmm.
See?
No,
They stepped on the beat, moved on the phrase.
they did not.
Watch.
I guess they did.
Now, what was your question?
What question?
You said you had a question for me.
Well, how does the band know when to move?
You mean you don't know?
This program was produced for the Department of Public Instruction through funds provided by the Pennsylvania General Assembly in cooperation with the Music Education Department of the Pennsylvania State University and the Allegheny Educational Broadcast Council.
This is the Pennsylvania Educational Television Network.